You stare at me like you want something.
What is up, you guys? This is All Danny Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown video for Elektra. So let's go ahead and take a look at her traits. So in Master Assassin in the offense tree, her base damage gives her 20% to enemies, or 20% base damage to enemies not targeting you. And then for her two main attributes are fighting and speed. In the defense tree, hand training, she gains 280 health on hit, and then 20% to both deflect and dodge rating multiplier, and a plus 600 base to defense and dodge rating. And then she also gets melee combatant, which gives her 8% damage reduction. And then in her resource tree, stamina, the mechanic tree, she gains stamina as her primary resource. Stamina regenerates at a rate of 10% per second. Stamina constantly regenerates. So now let's go into her abilities, her builds. So you have her dash ability, flow like water, melee, movement, dash, and stealth. I put this on L2 circle. Behind you, it's a melee movement ability. Put this on square. This is also your instant kills for against the non-bosses. So then you have Shadow Strike. I put this on L2X. You have your signature, Not Even the Stars, on L2 triangle. Slip into the shadows. I put that on circle. Cut a swath. I put that on X. Blow dart on L2 square. Silent scream on triangle. Now let's go ahead and look at the talents. On the first tree, you have Quiet Takedown. Behind you, Blow Dart and Throne Blade do not break stealth. Base damage is 10% increase to enemies not targeting you. Flying Death, you have 100% wave of shurikens, increase in the damage, and then wave of shurikens increase the charges by up to 2 charges. And the cooldown for wave of shurikens is up to 4 seconds, but we're not going to be worried about that. We're not going to be using that. We're going to be using the crit damage increase for blow dart. And then you have Silent Scream. From the shadows transforms into Silent Scream. Silent Scream is a ranged magic attack which stuns enemies and applies marked. So this is a nice AoE ability that can also mark enemies and stun enemies. So regardless of the enemies being yellow or blue enemies, you can still use it to stun enemies. You can use it to cancel bosses from doing their charges. For example, Juggernaut, or if you're fighting Doom, before they're about to use their charge abilities, just use that and it'll cancel them or interrupt them. Then you have Relentless Assassin. When you defeat a marked enemy, the cooldowns of all powers except Not Even the Stars are refreshed. So everything except for your signature is refreshed when you defeat a marked enemy, which is going to come in handy. Warriors of the Chased, or Chas. So Summoned Ally, Chased Warrior. Number of summons is 2, duration 30 seconds, and the cooldown is 30 seconds. Chased Warrior stats, the sword slash damage 5189 to 7783. The max health they get is 300% of your max health, and they also get a 70% damage reduction. If you don't want to use that, you can always use Mystic of the Chase. So it summons a Chase Mystic, same duration and same cooldown, 30 seconds. Chase Mystic stats, Mystic blast damage 5143, 7714, so the same amount of damage, but this one can heal you for 25% of your max health, and same amount of health and damage reduction. There's only going to be one summon though, not two. So this one's your healer, the support type of summon, and this one is your DPS summon because you summon 2 of them. In trials, I would recommend the Mystic of the Chase just because of the heal. But Warriors of the Chase is also good if you're trying to just put out a little more damage and you don't think you really need the heals. So let's go ahead and take a look at her synergies that I'm using for her. I put on Angela because of the speed, Beast for the melee damage, Black Panther for the melee damage, Daredevil for melee damage and damage versus normal elites, Elektra for melee damage and the boss damage, Hawkeye for the crit damage, Nightcrawler for the melee damage, Psylocke for the melee damage, Squirrel Girl for the boss damage, and then War Machine for the fighting attribute. Oh wait, Elektra's not melee damage, she's fighting and boss damage, that was my bad. And then for my infinity points, when I did my trials, at first I put all my points into Deep Thought for the Cut of the Swath, because Cut of the Swath spends your resources, but later I figured, I don't need that much stamina. You'll really only need maybe 100 stamina, maybe 125. Yeah, you don't really need too much. As long as you get over 100 stamina, you should be in a good spot. And then after that, I just put all my points into fighting and my strike through for brutal damage. Now, obviously, if you have only 25 points or less, then if you have under 25 points, then I would suggest putting all your points into Deep Thought, just so that way you can have the stamina. Because the reason why you want to have the stamina is so that way you can keep using Cut of the Swath. And if you have a little bit more than 25 points, then I would suggest putting points into fighting, maybe 2 points into fighting if you have 50. If you have a little bit over 50 or 25, then I would still probably just only put your points into Deep Thought for now until you get a little more points, because putting like 1 or 2 points into your main attribute isn't going to be enough. I would say three at the most, or at the least, just because that gives you up to 12%. So 12% will be quite a small minor notice difference. So let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. So I'm using Savage Axe of Ares. I just recently got it to rank 4. But I would highly recommend using Savage Axe, because you're pretty much using all melee abilities, and then Cut of the Swath is a movement ability as well, so you'll be benefiting from that 1500 crit hit, 2 movement powers, and have that extra brutal strike and brutal damage is going to help so much. And that extra melee power damage is going to also be really helpful. And then my gear is actually all pretty well, my cosmic gear. But the artifacts, so these 3 artifacts you can actually get from just doing the operations. So you don't have to worry about having it locked behind danger rooms or locked behind the shield supply box. So you can get the Vulture's mechanical wings from doing Daily Bugle. The reason why I'm using this is because it gives movement speed, which is really, to be honest, it really helps a lot having good movement speed. I think you can go up to 20% movement speed, so that 11.5 is pretty low, but regardless, 10 to 20% movement speed definitely helps. You also get force speed, which is one of your main attributes. You get ranged powers, which you have a couple ranged abilities anyways, so that still helps. When you use a movement power, gain 400 brutal strike rating for 10 seconds. You're using the Cut of the Swath, which is your movement power. So as long as you're using that, you're going to always have that 400 extra brutal strike rating. And then I used a Gem of the Curse, because Gem of the Curse is just always really good for any character and every character, regardless. Because that extra crit damage, crit hit, brutal strike, and brutal damage is going to help you a long way. If you get a cosmic version, then a good version to have would be the one with +1 on all attributes, the cost reduction, or resource cost reduction, and 10% 10% signature cooldown reduction. Those 3 are the ones I would definitely go for for the cosmic fixes. And then Black Cat's advanced grappling hook. Oh, well, for Gem of the Curse, you get this from Odin's Palace. Black Cat's advanced grappling hook, you get this from Black Cat in the patrol, or you can get it from really anywhere else, like the danger room or shield supply box. But you can definitely, if you're looking for this, you can farm this from Black Cat, the patrol. So this is also really good. The only thing that you don't need is the gadget powers, so don't worry about that. But the crit hit is really nice. The dodge rating helps. The boss damage rating definitely helps because you're at, I believe, 7% boss damage anyways. And then you get +4 speed. So all four of those, the 4 to the 5 of those stats definitely help you a lot. And then the mods I put on my artifacts are the utility mods. Is the um, efficiency modification. So you get 209 health, 200 damage rating, and 4% stamina cost reduction. So you're looking at 12% stamina cost reduction just from all these. And then the two different relics I would go for if you're just trying to get more stamina, more resources, then you want to use Relic of Gibran, which is going to look like this. You can always, obviously, you would want to go for a complete one if you go for the Relic of Gibran. But if you think you have enough, if you think you have a good amount of stamina already, like if you have 100 plus stamina from your infinity points, then I would just go with Relic of Asgard because that extra melee damage is definitely going to help you in the long run. And then my catalyst isn't too bad. It gives me 35% movement speed for 5 seconds when you use your medkit. The one that would probably be better would be 10% XP bonus or any type of XP bonus because I mean XP bonuses help a lot. Or for trials purposes, anytime you use a medkit, you go into stealth. So that would have been really useful. Gain 418 health when you hit an enemy, so that works good. Regenerate 25% of your health up to 3,100 stamina when you use your medkit. That right there, it's definitely something you're gonna want to have on your any of your catalysts. And then +3 speed, so +3 to your attributes definitely helps a lot too. After using a signature power, gain 1,000 damage rating for 4 seconds. I would have rather preferred the one where you get a shield when you use a medkit, but I mean both of them work great anyways. And then my tech bonus, when you use a power, gain 100 max spirit for 10 seconds, 20-second cooldown. And then my medallion, I'm using the Juggernaut medallion. Every second moving increases your damage rating to movement powers by 100 up to 1,000 damage rating to movement powers. So that definitely helps out with your cut of the swath. If you don't want to use this, then I would probably use Doc Ock's medallion because pretty much all of your abilities are melee abilities, and cut of the swath is going to count per hit. I believe it counts per hit. I'm not 100% sure if channeling abilities will increase your stacks. If they do, then that's great. Then yeah, then the Doc Ock's medallion would definitely help. Of course they work because the Juggernaut one. But yeah. So Doc Ock's and Juggernauts are the two that I would recommend. Maybe Cravens as well. And yeah, so the Savage Axe of Ares, like I said, is a good legendary. So my stats, 20, speed and fighting, 33,639 average effective health, 36% damage reduction, 0% attack speed, 3861 crit hit rating, but with the movement powers with it, then I'm in the 5,000s, I believe, 5,200. Yeah, I'm 5,200, 5,261 crit hit rating with the movement powers. 8262 crit damage, 3528 brutal strike, and 10,499 brutal damage, and 160% base damage. And then now to show you what the abilities and everything looks like. So this is cut of the swath. So all you're gonna do is this, and as you see, my stamina bar on the bottom is going up and down, but that's because you get 10% of your resource back per second. So it will take a while for you to lose all your resource when you're just doing this, and you just stand here, and your resource is completely back. And then this is triangle. It's the ability that will mark your enemies, and this is a nice AOE stun ability. Oh, these aren't elites, so I won't be able to show you what square looks like. But yeah, so this will just stun your enemies, which is nice. And then L2X, it's a nice leap ability, AoE, does nice burst damage. And then L2 square, this is another mark ability, poison damage over time. And then you have L2 triangle, which is your signature. And I'm gonna go and to the story real quick, and I'll show you real quick on what it would look like when you mark an enemy. So just sit back and relax real quick. So I'm gonna mark an enemy here, if I can find them, because I know they're right up here somewhere. So remember, it has to be yellow or blue enemies only. You can't mark regular enemies. You can mark bosses as well. So they'll have a sword over their head right there. That means you know they're marked. And what I would highly recommend is don't lock on to them. Lock on if you're gonna mark them, but don't lock on if you're gonna use your insta kills. So square is gonna be my insta kill. And with the talent, you can just keep spamming that when you have multiple enemies marked. So if multiple enemies are marked, make sure you do not lock onto them. If you lock on, it's gonna be kind of hard for you to keep spamming square or whatever your one-shot ability slotted on. So yeah, make sure when you mark them, just not lock on and keep spamming square. Trust me, it'll help a lot. But that's basically it on this build. Hopefully it helped you guys out. If it did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any suggestions or anything about the build, anything that can help someone else out, or let me know, then let me know down in the comment section as well. If you have any artifacts or medallions that you would like to put down as well, then again, let us know down in the comment section. Every tip, every help works. And yeah, that's basically it. So, oh, and also make sure you guys check out my Twitter at alldayinaday1 so you can keep up, with builds and streams and whatnot. So yeah, that's basically it. This is All Day in a Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.